Hello and welcome back to the Not Known Firm YouTube channel. My name is Ben Bounce, back after a small hiatus on the channel. With a couple of things got in the way of the uploading last week, and then Not Known Firm decided to take part in the social media boycott over the weekend as Scottish clubs, English clubs, organisations up and down the UK took a weekend off Twitter to try and highlight the abuse that players and officials at clubs and indeed football in general have received this season. You've seen it a lot more prevalence perhaps this season. It's been talked about a lot more, and it's because of the rise in cases. Well, perhaps no real figures out there. Every week we seem to hear some sort of story about it, and players and managers alike have called for regulation on these social media platforms for that. But to try and highlight some of the stuff that was going on, clubs took a weekend off Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all your usual platforms. We decided to tag YouTube into that as well due to its prominence these days. So all this stuff over the weekend is on our online site, as always is. Plenty of action happening though in the Scottish Premiership, so we sort of picked the weekend to take time off social media because there was so much to talk about. Dundee United 0, Ross County 2, Hibs 0, St Johnstone 1, Livingston 1, Aberdeen 2, Motherwell 2, Kilmarnock 0, and St Mirren 1, Hamilton 2. We don't need to talk about the Old Firm game on Sunday. Perhaps if you're a Celtic fan for some reason watching this, you'll be quite glad of that. But looking at the league table, 2 games to go now until the end of the season. Rangers and Celtic, of course, are first and second. Hibs' gap in third on 59 points is cut to 3 points. Aberdeen making up some good ground this weekend with their win away to Livingston. They sit on 56. St Johnstone and Livingston are tied in 5th and 6th. St Johnstone in 6th on goal difference, both on 44 points. It means Aberdeen will play European football next season. In the bottom 6, Mull jumped to 7th and sort of became best of the rest, if you will, also on 44 points. St Mirren 43, Dundee United 42, and then right at the bottom is where it gets really interesting. Perhaps the 3 teams to watch now between now and the end of the season. You could probably throw Hibs and Aberdeen when they play at Pittodrie as well. That'll be a really interesting game in the race for third. But the bottom 3 is really where it's at. Ross County on 33 points, Kilmarnock on 32, and Hamilton, well, still bottom on 30. Their win at the weekend has made things very, very interesting. Just when it looked like they were about done, they pull out a result, as they tend to do. This is what Hamilton do. But we'll start on the Saturday fixtures. Ross County beating Dundee United 2-0 away at Tannadice. One eye on the Cup semi-final this weekend, perhaps for Mickey Mellon's side. And it's probably the reason why they haven't really pushed the top 6. They've never looked in danger of going down at all any of the season, but they have always sort of just lingered sort of between 6th and 9th this season. Because they are so Jekyll and Hyde. They can be so good on their day. They showed that away to Aberdeen, the 3-0 Scottish Cup quarter-final win. But then they have a performance like this. They didn't really rest many players for this game. They get beat 3-0 off Kilmarnock a couple of weeks ago now. And the excuse for that one was that the sort of younger boys were playing in that one. But this one was a fairly strong team playing in that. And Ross County perhaps just had a bit more incentive to play for. Big win for them. Their destiny is in their own hands now as well. With that victory. It's a big one for John Hughes' side that puts them 10th, and if they win the last 2 games, then they're safe. So it's all in their own hands, but the problem with John Hughes' side this season has been consistency. As much as they won this 2-0, they've beat Celtic, they've beat Hibs at Easter Road, they've beat Aberdeen 4-1. They can't seem to follow up victories with positive results. The next 2 games are huge against Lancashire sides, particularly the one against Hamilton. If they do win that, then yeah, that obviously is a huge, huge lift. That would mean they won't finish bottom, but Kilmarnock's result could also mean, that game really could probably keep them up. Looking at the table here, or it could sink them right back in the final day. But it looks as if it will go to the final day at least. I suppose with the next round of fixtures, Kilmarnock beat St Mirren and Ross County beat Hamilton, then Hamilton are down, but then it still leaves Ross County and Kilmarnock all to play for on the Sunday. So still lots and lots of permutations and things like that at the bottom of the league. So be keen on keeping an eye on that. Hibs 0, St Johnstone 1. We heard from Jack Ross and Callum Davidson at the end of that one. Ryan Porteous's error gifting St Johnstone the victory in that one. What was probably a 0-0 game over the piece. But Jack Ross backing Ryan Porteous to bounce back from that. St Johnstone made 7 changes in this one ahead of their Scottish Cup semi-final, and Callum Davidson was pleased to have a selection headache ahead of a return.
Yeah, we didn't play well, but I didn't think myself we were good enough to win the game, but I don't necessarily think we did have to lose it. I don't think the opponents did much more than we did. I don't think there was anything creative through the game. I think it was a brilliant game to watch, but we came out the wrong side of the result, obviously, with the defensive lapse, and you know, without that I think we would have been sitting here reflecting probably on a 0-0. Split second decision making that players do all the time, constantly all over the pitch. I think the closer you are positionally to your own goal, sometimes that decision making has greater consequences. So goalkeepers and central defenders, etc. So in that moment, it's a wrong decision to try and play a pass. At first, I thought it was a badly hit clearance, but it's not. He was trying to pick a pass, and it's a wrong decision, and it's punished. Yeah, I think there's two sides to it. I think one, he cares a lot about his football. Does a lot of work with us, a lot of work with John Potter, and takes it. You know, is prepared to take responsibility and try and get better. But he's got broad shoulders as well, so he's dealt with criticism at times, and sometimes wrongly, and the perception of him, he's handled that okay, and he's grown and he's matured. And today's another one where he has to show that again. He's done it in the past, he's done it this season, bounced back from things, and I have no qualms that I think he'll go and do that again.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's the last 3 or 4 games I made a few changes. I think obviously want to get guys game time at the end of the season. I think I've said it before, I'm quite happy with whatever 18 I pick. I'm also working on outfield players here, my numbers. Obviously I'll start by Elliot, he was absolutely fantastic because he basically wasn't in the team yesterday, and he got a late call this morning to say he had to step in. I think it shows a real good character how he performed today. I thought he was commanding his box in the second half and pulled off a fantastic save.
Xander injured going up into the box last Sunday night?
I'm not sure what happened. I'm not sure. I need to sort of investigate that further. So I think he got involved in celebrations. Somebody's doing his big toe. So I think that's one. So again, it just shows obviously the depth we have, and I was quite pleased to see what had to come on. And I thought the players who came in were excellent as well. And I thought they worked extremely hard and put a real shift in for them.
Livingston 1, Aberdeen 2. Decent bounce back from the cup defeat for Stephen Glass's side. First time for me seeing them live in the flesh, and well, not amazing. Ryan Hedges made the difference for them. Coming off the bench after a few months out, 4 minutes on the park, he scored the winner. So instant impact from him. We did hear from both managers, Davy Martindale and Stephen Glass, at the end of this one. Martindale confirming J. Emmanuel Thomas will leave Livingston at the end of the season after he scored his 9th goal of the term, and Stephen Glass pleased with how Aberdeen returned to form in Westfield.
Big Jay will be away in the summer. I've spoke to Jay. I've got a gentleman's agreement with Jay. He can't activate the extra automatic clause. So I've said to the big man, like, look, don't give me everything you've got, and he's looking to get away. So I'm more than happy to do that. So Big Jay will be away in the summer, but I think I've spoken about that before. He's got offers in Thailand, Indonesia, and China, and we've only got Jay because of COVID, if I'm honest. Because he had to come back due to the pandemic, and he's came back, and the wages the big man can earn elsewhere probably I wouldn't keep him here. I wouldn't do that to him. I'll not even try to do that to him. So we've got a gentleman's agreement that he'll be away at the end of the season, but if he was to go to a club in Scotland or England, we would be due a fee. But I'm more than happy to do that for the big guy.
Really give us a carrot to dangle in front of the players. Can you set up what is now a massive game next Wednesday? We know what we need to do. We know what we want to set up for the final day of the season. But I'm just delighted for the players that they got the reward for their work rate today, and a bounce back, like you say, from last weekend. Yeah, and I think the group knew what the performance was last week. We knew it immediately after the game. We knew what it meant. We knew the opportunity missed, but you can't do anything about it. The only thing you can do is focus on this game right now, and they did it. I kind of knew from in training the reaction that was coming. And to be honest, I've not been able to ask for any more from the players since we came in. Even against Dundee United with a poor performance, it wasn't to do with a lack of effort. To me, there was other things we talked about after the game as a group. But looking forward, I think I'm delighted with what's here.
Mull 2, Kilmarnock 0, where we heard from Mull manager Graham Alexander and Kelly boss Tommy Wright. Graham Alexander, Devante Cole has been his man to go to for goals. I think it's 11 goals and 6 assists, 17 goal contributions, or just about that, this season, which is pretty remarkable given that he'd only scored a couple of goals prior to Stephen Robinson's exit, who initially brought him to the club last season on loan from Wigan, and then brought him back to the club on a permanent basis in October time. So really good return under Alexander for Cole, and Alexander reckons that it could be good for him to have some consistency after a bit of a nomadic existence since his days in the Manchester City Academy. Whereas Tommy Wright, his commanding side, no longer have their destiny in their own hands. He says they've only got themselves to blame.
Yeah, he's been excellent. You can't ask any more of a number 9 really. That he's, I think his goals stand out for themselves. They're there for everyone to see. But his all-round contribution in the link-up play and just the defensive side of it has been excellent. As with the others, we can't win games with just one centre forward and a good defender. It has to be a whole team performance. But goal scorers get the limelight, and but he deserves it. He's been excellent since I got here, and delighted with his contribution really. But there's a lot of other lads going under the radar that are certainly playing as well as him as well. So it's great to see. I just, all we talk about all the time is be a team all the time, and that's what I think our success has been based upon. Yeah, certainly. Yeah. We spoke to him quite a while ago about contracts and everything like that. So it's still sort of ongoing. But we'd be delighted to keep him. I think we can help him improve and get to the next level. I think he needs to add to his game a consistency of being at one club for a certain amount of time. I think he's led a little bit of a nomadic existence up to now, but he's certainly got the qualities of having a top level career, and I believe we can help him in that. But we'll see how it goes.
That's an understatement. We came here looking all 3 points, but didn't deserve them. Didn't start the game well. Motherwell looked sharper than us. Without really creating a lot. Worked our way into the first half. Again, the start of the second half, it's all right talking in the dressing room about going out and doing well and making sure you do the right things. Good goal in terms of finish, but poor goal to concede from us. Too many mistakes in the build-up to it. I think overall Motherwell deserved it. Deserved to win. We didn't do enough to win. To win 3 points. Yeah, I mean we can't depend on other teams. I've been constant in that. I've never changed the script in that. We've got to make sure we do our own thing and do it well. And we didn't do it well enough today. We can't use Monday as an excuse in terms of the fact that we looked a little bit lethargic at times. I think it was more a mindset. But the one thing was, when we went down 1-0, there was a reaction. We tried to get back in the game, but again, it's criminal defending, for the second goal, and that's the game, dead and buried then. But it's always been a case we've got to look after ourselves, and we didn't do that today.
And finally, St Mirren won Hamilton, who perhaps St Mirren had one eye on the Scottish Cup semi-final, but Hamilton, just when they looked done, they just pull it out the bag. I mean, yeah, if they hadn't won on Saturday, then just looking at the league table here, then they would have been in a spot ball, or it would have pretty much been nigh on impossible for them to get to that security of 10th unless results seriously went their way and they won both the remaining games by a good few goals. But the way things have worked out, they are right in the mix of properly staying up on their own. If they win away to Ross County and then they beat Kilmarnock, then likelihood is they will stay up in the Scottish Premiership this season, which would be a remarkable achievement, as Brian Rice describes here. But we heard from St Mirren manager Jim Goodwin first, who hasn't really got any selection headaches ahead of facing St Johnstone at Hampden this weekend. And Brian Rice says keeping Hamilton up would be his greatest achievement, liken it to climbing Mount Everest in flip.
Yeah, very disappointing. We didn't play to our best at all. I've got to give credit to Hamilton, for the way that they approached the game. We knew what we were going to get. We certainly didn't underestimate Hamilton in the build-up to the game, but I'd be lying if I said we didn't have one eye on next Sunday. So, the team was very flat. I thought first half we never really got going. We had one half chance in the first half with a decent ball across the face, but apart from that, we offered very little in the opening 45 minutes. I thought the second half was better, and there certainly was an improvement in the performance. And we got ourselves back in the game. We made the changes on the hour mark. I was hoping that I wouldn't have to make too many changes, but we made the changes on the hour mark. I thought they gave us a little bit of a lift and a little bit of a spark. Got that goal, and then kind of penned Hamilton back for large periods toward the end. But unfortunately, it just wasn't to be. No, it's not. I'm disappointed with it. I don't mind losing games, but there's a way in which you lose them. And I just felt that too many of us were going through the motions out there today, and there was no real level of intensity. Our passing was slow and sloppy, and everything was in front of Hamilton too much. There was no real desire to go and run beyond, and the players don't need me to tell them that kind of level of performance is not acceptable. They know that, and we need to raise our game for next weekend. It's as simple as that.
Well, it's massive. Ross County's, I said yesterday, we'll need to do what we need to do, then we'll look at the situation. Ross County's won, so it makes our result even better. Kilmarnock's lost, so it's dragged them back into it as well. And it's going to go right down to the last game, I think. Goals in our hands if we win the last two games. Because, if you look at the situation before it, but you can only ask for things to be in your own hands. And like I said, we've done well today. I think we deserve to win the match. So we now go and prepare for the Ross County game, which is going to be another big match. Getting my best players on the pitch. My best players have all been injured this season. Well, when I say my best players, my quality players, the other lads give me everything. The lads that play give you everything every week. It's trying to get the quality onto the pitch. My flair players who you want to see, they've all been injured, But the ones that go out there, they give me what they've got. And I can't ask any more than that. It'll be a massive achievement. It'll be like climbing Everest with your flip-flops on.
That in terms of the club?
Yeah?
That in terms of the club?
It's in terms of everybody. I'm part of the club. They're not individuals, I'm part of the club.
What does it mean to you personally though?
The biggest achievement ever that I've ever achieved. What we've had to go through this year, it's been unbelievable. So if we can do it, like I say, climbing Everest with your flip-flops on.
And that's all we've got time for on this review. We hope you have enjoyed. We'll look ahead to the Scottish Cup matches later in the week, and we'll probably do instant reactions to them as well. So do check that out. As well as that, there will be the playoffs are kicking off this weekend. A bit of an unknown about what happens with the League 1 and League 2 playoffs and the dates yet, but we'll probably touch wood consider. We'll see who goes through and what access you can get to these games, but we'll probably be covering a few of them, so do check out our website for that, as well as covered as well a Partick Thistles league title, and we'll have more stuff on that in the coming days, so do check that out. Right, that's me for now. Until next time, take it easy.